Okay, so I'm just going to start recording just because it's really fun right now. Know the name, know the answer, and know the name.
Know the genius in you.
Of course I forgot that.
And Sharon, is it only names or is it surnames too? And middle names as well?
It takes the full name. It takes the full name, because if not, everybody with the same first name would be the same, and they're not.
Rectamundo.
It's fascinating.
Yes.
Is it like backed by science?
It's backed by a ton of research.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's got a crazy background. You have to have her on your show, dude.
Okay, cool.
We talked for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Because I wanted the other side of her. And there's a lot. Right? That's what I do, right? You go
That's
for
what you
side.
need for 2.5 hours. That's what you can get in 2.5 hours. Eh? It's nice to
we got a friendship,
down.
yo. We got a lot of things right there. I love her.
Yep. And I love your title, Alexis. Poke the podcasters. Go.
I love it. I got approval from the nemologist.
Yeah, you got it.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, I'm doing it. It's 10:01. So I have no idea when this actually shows up. Like, it always surprises me. I look like an idiot half the time. Seriously, they're like, oh, you're live. You're still live. I'm like, oh, really? I was just washing the dishes. It happens. Yeah, so the format's real loose, freewheeling. Poke at the Podcasters is not meant to be a roast. But I do have a couple questions for you. I think that they'll start off the tone pretty funny. And go live. Let's do it. Let's do this. Oh, sweating balls.
So how are you running this? What software are you using to run through? Just Zoom straight through?
Yeah.
You got the Zoom like pro accounts, have you?
Yeah, just the next level up.
Okay.
Yeah, no biggie.
Cool.
No biggie. I guess we're live, yo. Here we go. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode number 1 of what will be a continuing series of amazing shows with the people behind the podcast that we love. And you don't always get to see them. And that's why I wanted them to be here today. I'm so excited. Can you tell? Some things are obvious. I've got Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and I've got Gareth China Martin. Can't wait to hear what that means. And I'm sure that she's running a check on your name right now. She's going to tell you all about you. For reals. So I'm trying to figure out how to find us on Facebook in case somebody says something. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring this out. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, there it is. There's the okay, I did it. Whoa, you can teach an old dog new tricks. So thank you both so very, very, very much for being part of this and not even asking me, what the hell are you up to? Yeah, I'm available. And you two are the hardest two to coordinate with. So, this is why we're doing what we're doing right now, because I love both of you. What you do, what you bring to the world, who you are. And speaking of that, Gareth, I found somewhere that you're actually a yogi.
Yes, I am. I
want to hear about that, but I just really have this burning question in mind. I've written it down so I don't forget. Is it once a yogi, always a yogi, or 2, does it depend on your mood?
Definitely depends on your mood, I think. Definitely. This was a midlife crisis, should I say, becoming a yogi.
Really?
No, not really. Just like a change of scenery, should we say.
Like ashram kind of scenery?
Yeah, I mean, I went to an ashram, which was amazing, in India. I actually also went to the Beatles one, which was a sensational in a town called Rishikesh. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Beatles ashram. It's
no.
One of the most. So the Beatles went to India in, I don't know, I think it was the 60s or 70s, and they set up camp in this ashram, and it's like. Now it's basically like a ghost sort of ashram. It's no one stays there or anything anymore, but you can still go and visit it. And it's run by like troops of monkeys and these sort of things. But it's you can only imagine like back in the
wait, whoa, troops of
monkeys.
Yeah. So
They're really smart monkeys.
yeah.
And they're peaceful.
No, but it's honestly, it's like this most amazing place. You can only imagine what it was like back in the day. It's literally like a scene from the Jungle Book. I promise you, it's absolutely amazing. Like these huge buildings with lots of rooms, and they're like getting overgrown by the forest and stuff now. And then you have smaller little like igloo almost shaped hut things. And this is where people stayed in, and as well, it must have been just this massive like congregation of fun and creativity and music and everything else that was going on back then. So it's a great place to visit. Seriously.
Wow, I want to know how it's run by monkeys, but maybe that's a longer conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they just live there, I think. I don't know if they run it.
That's so awesome.
But monkeys are the best thieves of the whole jungle. They will steal anything. And I'll tell you how to drive a monkey crazy. Mm-hmm. When I was on safari in Kenya, monkeys would come to the top of our Jeep, right? And everybody else in the whole Jeep is saying, oh, no, you're going to get contagious. You're going to get diseases, And I thought, yeah, they're just monkeys. But I was carrying carrots with me. So I handed this monkey a carrot. He took it in his right hand. Then I held out another carrot, and he took it in his left hand. And I thought, okay. And I handed out the third carrot. That monkey went bananas. It's like, wait a minute, I want that one, but I've got both hands full. Do I have to let go? Do I not let go? I mean, he sat there forever going, okay, what do I do? How do I get another carrot, And I was thinking, we have reasoning. We would have put both carrots in one hand and then grab with the other hand. But monkeys don't have reasoning. And talk about going, the panic on that monkey's face.
I'll bet if you'd shown him put two in this hand and then that one, that'd have been a 100th monkey thing. And they'd all be
really.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm ready.
In South Africa, we have in Cape Town, we have this place called Cape Point. It's like, it's like this not game reserve, but this nature reserve. And the place is literally once again run by baboons this time. And people go there on this like nature, it's a beautiful place to go. Lots of tourists go there, and they basically, they go there to see, where the oceans join and these sort of things. And and you see these baboons that are all walking around like the parking lots and stuff, and you think, okay, they're okay, but they're vicious first of all, but they're also super smart, and they will like see a car arrive, and then they will like sort of walk around it, and they'll know what's inside, and they know how to unlock doors and open doors, and they know how to pull down windows, and then they'll steal all your food, whatever's inside. They'll run inside to your car, and they will like find like packets of, say, chips, and they'll open them and they'll sit there and eat them. And yeah, super, super crazy. We're definitely not far removed from them, I can tell you that.
What other ashram did you go to? I went to Sai Baba's ashram, his winter ashram.
I forget the name of it, to be honest with you. It was when I was in Rishikesh. I can't actually remember the name of it, if I'm honest with you.
Always be honest, Gareth. Always.
Yeah. I know. I got such a bad memory, to be honest. I can't even remember the name of it. But yeah, I didn't actually stay in the ashram. I was staying like right next door to it.
That's what I did too. I stayed like 2 or 3 blocks away, but I was there for a month. And it was just fascinating to me to observe and watch what was happening and watch different people's reactions to different things. And of course, when you're sitting there, there's so many thousands of people and you have such tiny little space. And for an American, my body is a whole lot bigger than a lot of those bodies. And it was like, oh, how do I fit me in this tiny little space? And then to sit and meditate afterwards. It was like you could hold that energy for so incredibly long. And I wondered why everybody went. And then the minute it was over, it was like they all got up and left. And I thought, if you just sit here and meditate, you can contain all that energy and keep going. And it felt like moments or minutes, even though it could be hours.
That is the present mind, moment bliss.
Yeah.
Timeless.
There's something special about India. I don't know. It's a really magical place, that's for sure. If you haven't been, you must definitely go. Who's ever listening? It's really special.
Yeah, I haven't been. I didn't have Australia on my bucket list either, and I've been 6 times and lived there for 3 years. So I mean, You know, you never know as you
Never
go
say
along,
never.
like what you're called to do next. You know, don't write off anything because it could turn out to be the best thing ever.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've been reminded so many times in my life to never say never. One example which stands out is I used to compete as a bodybuilder before I was a bit of a yogi, right? So I used to like get on stage and do bodybuilding competitions and stuff.
Wow.
And I remember saying to my mate who I competed with in this competition in Denmark, like he had grown a beard. He was like a very clean cut, shaven guy.
Yeah.
And but for this competition, he had grown a beard because he was like, "This is the look that they want." I was like, "I will never, ever, ever in my life grow a beard, like never." And not joking. 2 weeks later, I grew myself a beard and has been there ever since. So. Yeah.
Did it give him an edge in the lifting competition?
Sadly not. No, I think they were going after younger fellas in that competition. So
you know,
we lost out.
As you know, I like to say, you need to have an angle if you want to have an edge, but you can't overcome that if they're looking for a different age bracket.
Yeah.
You know, move on.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think if I was a male, I'd always have a beard.
Yeah. Why is that though?
Because I don't want to shave every day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. You get you get used to the feeling of smooth skin, and it's a really nice feeling. So I used to shave every single day, and I was like, I'll never have a beard. But now I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever have smooth skin again.
Well, and when it first comes out, isn't it kind of coarse and rough? But after it's there for a while, it gets nice and soft.
Yeah, I mean, the first few days.
Hair.
Yeah, it does depend on the person, but I mean. Mine was never super coarse, actually. Some guys that get like the 11 o'clock shadow, after shaving it in the morning. Theirs is super rough and strong, but like, mine was never that bad personally. But now once you get to this length, it's nice. It's like a soft carpet.
Right. See, and I think, that would be so much easier on the skin than that razor blade.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't know. I mean, I just imagine because we don't have beards, so we don't know.
Sharon, I just want to share this with you. Sorry, Gareth, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and finish it.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead. Okay. So Sharon, here's the thing. Guys say, if I was a woman, I'd be having all the sex I can and using it to get everywhere I want. And I'd wear a short dress all the time. And I would wear high heels and I would just use it, girl. And I'm like, really? Really? You have no idea what you're saying, do you? I don't know a single woman that would be like that. Well, actually, I do. I take that back.
It's quite. I think we all know a few.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting question, though. Like, what would you do if you were men for a day? Like, what are things that you always think of?
Oh, I would go to like a fine, dapper shop, and I'd put on the hat. Of course, I would. Right, the top hat. I bring back the 20s, yo. I put a swing chain down here, get me a old Ford, drive around. That's all I would do, and smoke a cigar.
That's such a great question. I have never considered what it would be like to be male, other than, I just feel for you guys having to shave every day. I think that would wear a beard. But other than that, I've never considered that. I have so thoroughly enjoyed having a female body.
Yeah. There you go.
It's like, I've never even considered that. And I guess, too, I grew up in a household with 4 sisters and no brothers.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're not even that little bit curious, though. What's it like?
No, I had 3 younger brothers.
It's like, okay, so from all the readings that I have done, from all the different religions and everything, it seems to me that we come back with reincarnation and we do 9 lives of one sex and then we switch over and we do 9 lives of the other sex. And that first time that we're the next sex, a lot of times we can choose to be homosexual or transvestite or whatnot, because here we've had 9 lives of the other one. And so we're kind of like, hey, wait a minute, I'm still feeling like the last thing and yet I'm in this new body. So I just look at it and I think, been there, done that. Now it's this time to enjoy this one and however long it lasts. And then we'll been there and done that. We'll go back to the other one,
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's cool. I really like that. So I don't have any recollection of any of my other lives right now, but I'm sure they were great and interesting. But it's interesting. I think it's an interesting question because, like, I don't know, often when I ask girls, they're always like, yeah, I would like to, because I'd like to wee standing up, and I'd like to know what it's like to, have a willy and hold it. And I always thought that was quite funny.
Huh?
Well, and see, and I feel for you males, because when a woman gets pregnant, we get to feel all of that from inside.
Yeah.
You know, the kicking, the movement, all of that. It is so miraculous. And I think you guys can just put your hands on the outside, and that's all you get. You know, and you hope that the baby kicks while your hand's there.
Yeah.
We get to feel all the movement of life growing within us, which to me is just so miraculous. Why would I not want to have that experience?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
don't know. I'll ask you when you're giving labor or having labor. I don't know. A lot of people are like, that's it. I'm never doing this again. And then they do.
Well, if you can be hypnotized while you're giving labor, then it's just pressure. It's not pain. And, you know, my first one was incredibly long and the second one wasn't all that short. But I looked at it and I thought, my dad taught us all how to self-hypnotize when we were really young. And it was like, okay, put yourself into this state of being and then just breathe. And it's pressure and you go with it. And even though it's long, and that way you don't need the epidural, you don't need anything. You just breathe and it's for the baby.
Wow.
So,
wow. That's amazing. I wish more people knew that.
well, I think a lot of doctors do, because I know that my mom spoke one time about having all 5 of us kids by a different methodology because of whatever was out or in or whatever, and that she had the 5th one by using hypnosis. And I thought, that's it. That's what I'm doing.
Nice. Nice.
How is hypnosis different to, say, meditation or self-hypnosis in particular?
It's how you get into that state.
Okay.
How you get into it, and the awareness level once you're there. Okay. So in meditation, I've been a meditator since my 18th birthday. So in meditation, even though I'm letting thought float through my mind, I'm very much aware of everything. It's like everything around me is amped. So I always try to find the quietest space possible, because every noise is like a bullhorn. Okay.
Wow.
And you're super aware. And in hypnosis, it's like you've cut out all those awarenesses. You've cut out everything. It's singular focus on just the part that you're focusing on. Wow. And everything else kind of disappears.
Wow. That's
so
really cool.
Meditation includes everything, and you're very much aware of all of it. In hypnosis, it's singular. You know? And so they're like polar opposites of each other.
So can you choose with hypnosis like what you want to focus in on?
Yes, of course. That's why you want to do hypnosis.
Yeah, wow. I'd love to find out how to do that.
So
Dad taught us. My father's a physician, and he used hypnosis in his practice to help people stop smoking or stop a bad habit. But he says you have to go underneath it and see why the habit's there. If not, they'll replace it with something else. But he taught all of us kids how to do self-hypnosis so that we could study more focused and we wouldn't have to spend as much time studying.
Nice.
Cool.
Works. The teacher has spoken. Thank you. All you guys listening, thank you for tuning in. I've got Charlie, James, Mary Ellen, Ernest, Sade, Inez. What's up, guys? Yep, Rich Young, Sandy Lake, Jules Hanford, and other people that are just creeping, and I'm okay with that.
Wow.
I am so delighted to have Gareth Martin here of the Ridiculously Human podcast, which is amazing.
Thank you.
It is. And Sharon Lynn Wyeth, who's off the charts, incredible. If I could sing, I would, guys, but I'm singing your praises for sure.
You're super kind. You're one of the most kindest ladies I know, Alexis. So thank you so much.
So, Garth, what I want to know is, Gareth, is China the birth middle name, or
no? China is my nickname. So yeah.
That was my next question. What nickname do you deserve? What suits you? Why?
I'll tell you my middle name in a second, but I'll tell you why the nickname, because where I'm from in Johannesburg in South Africa, all the guys call each other China. So like instead of calling each other mates, we call each other China. And I think what happened is it originates from English rhyming slang. So, you know, the English, they have their rhyming slang, like the old Cockney guys, they'll say a certain word and it'll mean something else. So China plate means mate. Okay. So in South Africa, we shorten China plate to China. And that's only in Joburg, Johannesburg, where I'm from. So all the guys call each other China, like, hey, how's it going, my China? How's it going, my China? So that's my nickname, and it's my nickname because when I first moved to London like 20 years ago, I moved in with these Australian guys, and they took me to this Australian rules football, like on one of the first nights I was there, like this
Aussie
training.
rules.
Yeah, Aussie rules, exactly. And I was like, I love Aussie rules. I used to watch it on TV. I'm like, I'm definitely going to come.
Hell to the yeah.
And it was like, there was 80 guys at training, and I'm like running around. I'm this 18-year-old guy fresh off the boats, and I'm going, hey, China, boss. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then typical Aussies, they love nicknames. So China became my nickname literally like, a couple months after landing in London, and it's been that ever since. So I've adopted it. But my actual middle name is Ewan, spelled Euan.
Ooh, lots of vowels in there. Have fun with that, Teach.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the reason I was asking is because you said you don't remember any of your past lives, and your birth middle name gives us your last life and what that was all about.
Wow. You ready for this, Gareth?
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a stool, bro.
No, I should. I'm going to sit down. Hold on.
So, when she did mine, she said my birth middle name is Marie, and that has to do with what, suffering? Giving
sacrifice more than any other name.
Yeah, that's suffering.
You never get your own turn in Marie. It's always for everybody else. You know? So a lot of times when people have Marie as a middle name, they're coming in and they're saying, hey, I want my turn this time. Okay. I've got self-sacrifice down, and taking care of everybody else. Yeah. And yet you slip into those patterns because you did a whole lifetime of them.
Yeah, I know. They said I was a nun. I really, like busting out this time.
Wow. But does it matter if like a lot of people have similar names but with different spellings? So like say Marie, you could have M-A-R-I or M-A-R-I-E or M-A-R-Y, like, different spellings, different pronunciations.
It matters.
It matters. A lot, yeah.
It very much matters because you're looking at every letter and the placement of that letter and what it means and what it's sitting next to. Okay? And then you have to drop it into the last name because the first name is the essence of who we are. The middle name is where we go when we're under stress, and that's because we had a lifetime of doing it that way. So that's our comfort zone. And then our last name is our environmental influence for this lifetime. So the last name makes a lot of difference. That's why you see everybody with the same first name, that they're not all the same. It's like saying everybody with the same first name has the same ingredients in their kitchen, but the last name says what recipes you can use those ingredients for.
Isn't that smart? I love this.
That's amazing.
So your middle name is really interesting. It kind of says that you wanted to make the world a better place. So when able to do that, you were a comic or a clown. You're an entertainer of some sort.
Ah, okay? Cool. Well, it depends who you ask. Some will say comic, most will say clown, I think.
Yeah.
But that's definitely what you're about, bro.
I mean, making the world a better place is totally
you.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Totally you. So Sharon, is this something we've come to overcome or something to express?
Well, that's what we come as, like our bag of tricks. So if we're stressed, we're going to pull out our bag of tricks and see how can we get through this stress,
God,
right?
I need a better middle name, Jesus.
And so that helps. So the name also says what you've come to learn this lifetime. It literally represents 7 things. We've all come to learn with 7 goals. Okay. Wow. And that forms our overall umbrella, what I call it, for our purpose. And so some of what you've come to learn is how to be flexible, how to be able to change on a dime. Like, how can you quickly change direction? If something comes in and you go, oops, I was going the wrong way. Let's shoot. Now, how do we do it?
Yep.
Okay. And how to be comfortable with that. And then how to help others also be comfortable with that. So it looks at flexibility. How flexible are you? Or are you going to go, no, I want it this way? No, I'm going to get confrontational. I'm not going to change. Okay. So it's one of the things you came to learn was that flexibility piece. Another thing that you came to learn is how to utilize your imagination to help you create that which you're wanting to create.
Huh. Wow.
So it's your name's literally saying, can you get a really clear picture in your head? So clear that it absolutely feels real, like you could touch it, like you're already there. And then can you hold that? So then that's how you manifest.
Wow. I mean, it's unreal that you actually said that, to be honest with you. I mean, it's, I literally feel like that is the exact phase I'm in right now, as I'm trying to find that exact laser sharp clarity of what it is in terms of how I make this difference in the world. And literally what you said.
Okay. So to help you with that, okay, because the name always says how to go about it.
I got to throw this in there. How the hell do you not know? Gareth, look at what you're doing.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm doing it, but I don't think it's as defined as it probably could be. You know what I mean? I think
so something's pulling you for more.
It's still a little bit here, and it can actually get a lot more defined.
So the real key to being able to do it and doing it well is, instead of focusing on what this looks like, it's focusing on what came after. Like, how do I feel after? What followed it? So like, if you want to be giving speeches, let's say, okay, so after you've left the stage, how did that feel? What happens? Can you actually feel people coming up and taking your hand and saying congratulations and talking to you? Can you actually hear them? If you focus on what happens after that, which you are wishing to create, and you're focusing on the after effect, then the universe comes in and fills in the effect, because you've already been past it.
Wow.
Stay focused on the what, and the how makes itself known.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you focus on what happens after, the following thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
I think that's the real key, because if you're focusing on just this piece that you want to create, you get stuck there. But if you focus on what happens after it, then the universe fills in and you don't have to worry about the how.
Wow. That's amazing.
that's
Thank
brilliant.
you.
Brilliant.
That's super powerful.
Brilliant.
Really cool.
As always.
That idea
Resolve.
came from Neville Goddard, by the way. That's in his books.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
cool.
Goddard. Old
I
school.
like to give credit where it's due. That's where I've read that from.
Yep. Old school, man. For real.
Yep.
Amazing.
Well, see, and all of us, because we all have the first vowel of an A, we are all voracious readers.
Yes.
You know, we love to read, we love to learn.
Love to learn.
Okay.
Yep.
So the vast majority of all the books, when I was in elementary school, I could not read enough of biographies and autobiographies, because I wanted to learn, how did other people do it? And if they're famous, what were their mistakes? What did they learn? Why not learn from the best? And I read all these biographies. But by the time I got to junior high, because we didn't have middle school then, by the time I got to junior high, it was all in, especially by 8th grade, everything I read was philosophy and religion. And I thought, look at, all of us are forming our opinions in our minds by our thoughts about religion and philosophy. And so in 8th grade, I went to a different service or a different church every single Saturday or Sunday of the year. And I went exploring. And my dad was really cool about this, and he had a great sense of humor. So he said, this is really good. Read everything you can about every single religion. One, because you already know you want to be a teacher. And so if you know what somebody's faith is, you know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You can relate better. But he said, but the best reason to know about all the different faiths is if you pick the wrong one to follow, when you die and go wherever we go, and you realize what it really is, you're already familiar with it, and you can switch just like that.
You know what? That's exactly what happened to me when I was buried by the waves, and I was 12, and we'd been sent to Baptist school and the Jewish temple and wherever they would freaking have us, so my folks could have some time off. Whatever, I don't care. What happened is, in spite all these different overviews that I had, when that time really hit, and I was like, I'm out, I'm drowning. I said, well, I remember what they said happens next. Because it ultimately, if you're right there at a crisis, what you're going to say is, oh God, or God help me, because that's just what you do. And then you're going to fall back on what's the truth for you? What have you been exposed to? And it was the life, the flashing, the tunnel, the light, all of it. It was so peaceful. It was so awesome. I was like, this is cool. I'm out. I don't care. And it was only because I had all that mixed bag of stuff to call on, and all of a sudden it just went, here's the truth. Here's what's happening.
Here's the way it works. I'll tell you though, I have had some life and death experiences. This past week, I was caught between 3 tornadoes. Any one of them could have gotten me in the Midwest. Whoa. As I was trying to leave from Kansas to go to Missouri, and I kept getting crosshaired with those tornadoes. And one, I just had to sit in my car with my seatbelt on and just And so what I did is I just started giving gratitude. It was, thank you, God, for this amazing life. And thank you for all the lessons that I've learned. And thank you for the amazing people that you've brought into my world. And, you just give this gratitude. And if it's my time to go, I'm going to go out being grateful for having had the opportunity to be here.
Wow. That'll do it. Wow.
Goosebumps just listening to that.
And I was really thrilled, though, when that last storm stopped. I mean, the second one got 5 miles within me when it touched down. And literally, I was listening to the radio when I was driving, and I thought I had escaped the one in Kansas, but now I was going toward Joplin, and one was going to drop in Joplin. And the radio was saying, I was only 10 miles out, and the radio was saying, you're out of time. You need to be in cover. And I'm thinking, there's nothing around me. Finally, I see 5 miles down the road, this little house over here. I literally went and parked next to their car thinking these people go through tornadoes. They know where to park their car. And I went up to the house sopping wet because it was just like horrendous already. Sopping wet by the time I could get to the front door. Nobody answered. The door's unlocked. I walk in and I immediately out. Would you guys mind giving me shelter?
Oh my gosh, woman.
I was with them 2.5 hours before it was clear. And that's when the tornado touched down 5 miles away from us. To get all that extra stuff, that's all around it. And then when I left there, I was too tired to drive to where I had the hotel for that night. So I drove part way, said, I got to get off the road. I'm going to be in danger here. So I found this abandoned gas station. Nobody was there. The place was closed. I park and I thought, I just need to sleep a little bit. A little over an hour later, I'm woken up. There is another tornado. I'm turning on the thing because you can hear all the rain and the lightning and the whatnot. And I turn on and I am right in the pathway of the next tornado. And I thought, okay, it's obviously my time to go or close to it.
Oh my.
3 in a row. And I got underneath. I wasn't driving my car. So I got underneath with the car thinking I don't want the hailstorm to get it, from the garage, the gas station's roof. Sure. And then I'm listening to the radio, and I literally say, okay, this is 3, three's the charm. If it's my time to go, and that's when I went into gratitude, and I thought I might as well just sit here and enjoy the storm and be grateful that I've had the life that I've had.
Wow, that's epic. Wow.
That's crazy.
So I'm thinking about writing a very small book that literally says how to get through the tornadoes in your life and use it as a metaphor for what do we do in crises? What do we do when we think, oh, all my choices are gone and I'm trapped?
Tell me about
Love that idea. Love that idea.
How do we get out and just make it like one of Susie Pruden's little itty books, and just say, hey, this is a metaphor for life. How do you cope with tornadoes in your life?
Yeah.
Because we all get them.
Yeah. And then also, like, what perspective does it give you afterwards? Like now I can only imagine, you're just that extra more grateful for, even just being able to sit here and talk to us, because you never know, it might have been
my time.
Yeah, exactly. It's these things are all great reminders, I think, in life as well.
I want to share something real quick, guys. I was about 12 years old flying on an airplane. Again, no big deal. All of a sudden, before the plane took off, I panicked. I mean, it's out of character. Like, I love to fly, right? And I'm looking out over the wing and I'm like, oh God. And I'm starting to get all worked up. And this voice said to me, don't worry, it's not your time. And I looked at the person next to me, there wasn't one. And I was like, okay, can I have a Coke? Because that assurance came from somewhere else. I didn't die in the waves. You didn't die in the tornado. We're still here fogging a mirror, man.
Yeah, but look what happened to you all at age 12.
I know, dude.
What a powerful year.
I did. Yeah, really did. Yeah.
But I so believe in those voices in our head. Starting in 8th grade, because different people I was associating with at school were always talking about the Bible, and I thought, you can take anything out of context, and make it sane. I mean, I'd already learned that part. So I went, and there was no Bible in my house. And so I went and I found out what church was letting you earn a Bible. I mean, at that time, I look back and I think, why didn't I just know that the hotels gave them away free in the rooms? But anyway, so I went down to this church that I'd heard about, and I said, okay, how do you earn a Bible? And they said, you have to memorize the thing I hate to do the most in the world. Memorize. and they said, you have to memorize each of these passages, and you come in every Sunday and you report your memorization, and then at the end of the year you get your Bible. And I said, I don't want to take a solid 9 months to get my Bible. I wanted it like yesterday. So I said, can I memorize fast? Anyway, 6 weeks later I had my Bible. So then I looked at how many pages were in the Bible, how many more days till the end of the school year, because now it's October something. And I said, how much do I have to read every night? And I read every single night, because I was going to finish that whole book by the end of my 8th grade year.
Wow.
After about 6 weeks of reading every night, I got a voice over my left shoulder, just like you got a voice in the airplane. Yeah. And it said, okay, this is the culture you need to know, or this is what they left out, or this story is really an analogy for this thing that happens in life. And I got this voice, and I'm just telling you, I was 13, and I thought, we're kind of naive at 13, and I thought, that's why they tell you to read the Bible every night, because then you get the audio version.
Audible, yo.
So, did you have any revelations or any insights after reading the whole Bible? I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I can imagine it's an interesting book to read from.
It's not a history book. I was always told it's just a history book, and saying how life should be, but it's not. It's not at all. If you look past what the words actually mean and what the stories are actually saying, they're literally saying this, like God is consciousness. Yeah. And so God is always with you. There is no separation, because your consciousness really is your part of God that you're carrying with you. And if you read it in such a way that it's not a history book, and it's not about individual people, but it's about the correlation and what it's actually teaching you about how to do life, just like, okay, so there's that story where Jacob and Esau, I think it's those two. Anyway, one of the brothers gets his other brother's blessing, right? When the dad's on the deathbed. And if you look at it, when the dad says, hey, I cannot take back that blessing that I gave, right?
Yeah.
And you can't take it back. What that whole story is really about is that the one where the blessing was given is rooted in this third dimension. And so you can't take back what you're seeing in this dimension, because you're seeing it as real. Whereas the other one wanted the blessing, but if he could see it as that which he wanted to create, and that he already had it because he had it from within, then he could continue with what is real truth versus what we're able to just see with our physical eyes.
Wow.
Because then you had to go within to get it, because that blessing is already there.
Wow.
And instead of it a competition between two brothers, it's really what's real on the physical plane versus what's real on the non-physical plane. And if you read the story that way. So that's how I read the Bible, because of the voice in my ear. Look at it this way.
Wow.
Interpret it this way. This is what it's really saying.
Wow.
Exactly. And I think that is the smart way to read it, definitely. Because they are, if you can tune in it that way, there are those subtle messages, or maybe not so subtle messages. For sure. Interesting.
I'm going to jump tracks real quick with you guys. Girl, I love your knowledge. That's how we ended up with a 2.5-hour show. He's endless. And I have a question for you, Teach. We're going to jump tracks real quick, okay? All right. Is WTF, one, like as in what the fuck? WTF, one, an actual question, two, an exclamation, or three, does it depend on who you say it to?
Oh. I think it's an exclamation point. It's a statement. It's like, what the?
I was just curious. And I also, you guys have had a real great run with shows, and you're not stopping anytime soon. I could see that. Gareth, you have had high level, like well-known, amazing people on your show. How is it that you managed to keep doing that? Seriously.
To be honest, well, thanks. I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, it's just a matter of forming relationships with people and nurturing those relationships. To be honest with you, most of the like high profile people that we've had, we've actually probably started chatting to them minimum a year before. So like we'll get in touch with them on social media or email them or something like that. So maybe sometimes referred to them. And, we'll say, look, we're keen to have you on our show. And most of the time they're like, yeah, cool, no worries, but I'm really busy right now. And
Right.
we get that. That's just life. Everyone is busy, especially people that are, sort of high profile. So it's just a matter of nurturing those relationships. And that's what we do with each new person that we get in touch with as well. We realize that even if we ask you now, that it's going to be maybe a year and a half down the line that we actually get to speak to you. So we have some other like really big names in the pipeline, but we started speaking to them a year and a half ago, and maybe in the next 6 months to a year we'll get them. So it's all about relationships. It's all about being kind. It's all about being nice. It's all about taking rejection well too, because I mean, we have lots of people that say yes, but we probably have 5 times the number of people that say no, even more maybe. And it's about also dealing with that rejection and also but dealing with it nicely and going, that's cool, no worries, we totally understand, have a great time, and we'll get in touch with you again maybe in a year's time and see
when you wake up to yourself, because this is a great show to be on.
No, so yeah, it's just about building relationships, to be honest with you, and being and just practicing patience. I think everyone is like everyone is just like so fast in this day and age, and you just got to be patient, and if you can be patient, patience is going to win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it took 3 minutes for me to respond yes to your request. Yeah, I'll be on. When we film, come on, let's go. I should have played hard to get for just a second. Hey, but I'm not. It's such an honor. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. We can't wait.
Oh, me too, bro. Me too. Look out, Craig. We're coming.
Yeah. It's super exciting.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's funny how things work out, because I learned about the Ridiculously Human podcast watching someone else, Emily Penn.
Cool.
Yeah. So I was on the Mississippi River with Emily.
Oh, right. It's amazing.
Yes, and I was on the Mississippi River because I was in Australia, and Dave Cornthwaite showed up after skateboarding across the country and gave a talk, and I was like, wow, somebody under 35 is actually in this town. I'm going to go see him. I want to meet him. Who are you? Please don't leave. Yeah, it's funny how things work out, hey?
Yeah. I mean, in this day and age, we're super connected, and it's just a nice time to be alive, to be able to have access to different people and learn from different people. I think it's just amazing.
Finally, it doesn't suck.
Yeah. Classic.
It's true. Just keep it real.
That is the real blessing of the internet.
Yes.
You think about it, the internet made us all one country in a way, because we're all part of the human race, and that is our country, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
So Sharon, how is it that you've got 2 shows, Know the Name, Know the Answers, a call-in show, which is awesome. And
I have a guest on every week other than the first week of the month. The first week of the month, you call in and I'll talk to you about your names. And all the rest, I invite incredibly talented people in their own field. And every month has a theme. And then we just take calls the entire time. What do you want to know from this person?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Wow. That's cool. What do they call in, like just to a telephone number, or is it like what do you have? I mean, I know it sounds like a stupid question. But.
Yes, we have a telephone number that they call in, and our producer literally answers it and holds them on the waiting line. There's 11 lines to wait. And I think that the coolest thing is I have an agreement with all my guests that if somebody called in and they're on hold and we don't get to them because our time is up, that because they leave their phone number with our producer, we will call them and get that answered, even if it's off air, because they took the time to call in and wait.
Nice.
That's so cool. And is it like a podcast? Is it a radio, or is it a radio show?
It's a radio show off of BBS.
Okay.
Radio station.
Yeah. Right on.
And so, but we do it. I set it up in such a way that really talented people that are expensive, in my opinion, are on the show, because before you lay out that kind of money to get that kind of help with somebody, be it my lawyer's month or my business month or whatever the theme is of the month. Don't you want to see if they resonate with you? And don't you want a chance to hear other people ask them questions and how they respond to say, okay, this one's for me, or, yeah, man, that's too much money for that kind of answer. You know, I mean, don't you want to test drive?
Absolutely. I'm sure I've lost my invitation from you.
Yes, let
It's
me
in
know.
the post.
I'm letting you know, Chickie.
Okay.
Absolutely what it's about.
And so, you know, Alexis, let me know what theme you want to be on, because I need to put you in with a theme for the month. You know, like the theme this month was different kind of people with psychic gifts. So I had a pet psychic, and I have next week is the last one of them. In fact, it's tomorrow is, and I have a prediction person that she can predict what's coming and has a really good accuracy rate. But I've had a medical intuitive on, and I did everything that was different. I had a medium on, for this month. And so I have a month coming up of just business people. I have a month coming up of very expensive lawyers. But they all have a different field. Like one's a business lawyer, and one's a trial lawyer, and one's a family law lawyer. And it's like I have a theme per month, and then call in if you have a question that falls into that category.
Okay. Roger,
why not test drive? And they're amazing people.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I don't have anybody on my show I don't know. I mean, and I pick everybody out by their name first. You know how that goes.
Sorry. No, you've got a B in your first name. You cannot be on the show.
I have an X. Does that put me out of the picture there? I don't know.
No. But so it's like, but I do that because I look at it as my reputation has to stand that I'm bringing quality people on.
Yes.
So everybody's vetted before they come on. And then the other show is Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. It's like, Alexis, you were on there. It's like amazing people, what they have to give, and how the world is better because they're doing their thing.
Yes.
Awesome.
And what can we all gain from knowing how they're doing their thing?
Yes. Exactly.
Like the show that we just taped yesterday was all about, and it was all about, she's living in Britain, and Julie goes by Chamari, and her last name's Dorr, and she went through having an eating disorder and binging, and all it did for 30 years. She started doing different health modalities and realized that the eating disorders took care of themselves when she started doing her meditation and her yoga and all of that stuff. And so she started writing down what was happening to her as it went, and to notice this. And she really did so much research. And so now her material is all out there to help everybody who's a binge eater or has, some kind of eating disorder, and an absolutely free test for that on her website to see which kind of a disorder you have, so you know what to go do about it.
Yep.
And the different reasons what's causing it.
Yep.
And so I just look at that show as, how are we helping other people? How are we contributing to the world?
Yes.
How are we the solution and not the problem?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we have so much to learn from each other. Like, I think, that's why we started our show as well, because we just realized that literally through listening to stories and through talking to your friends and other people, that you can pick up so much, you know what I mean? You can learn so much, and, it doesn't take much just to have a conversation, and it's amazing what you can actually learn through those conversations.
Yeah, it really is, especially when you put it on 1.5 speed. Because
I have been watching that picture in the background for you. Is that Nelson Mandela, or who is that?
Yeah, that's Nelson Mandela. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm okay. Now my curiosity's been satisfied.
Is there any connections to names at all? So, like, say for example, I look up to Nelson Mandela, or I look up to, say, somebody else. Is there a connection, say, between my name and their name, or do you connect to people that have a specific type of name at all? I don't know if it goes that. I
think we connect to what that entire name says about somebody. Like Nelson Mandela, his whole name says that he came in actually to learn self-confidence, and how many people don't feel good enough. And then look what he did with that.
Wow.
And it also says, though, that he had a really strong sense of self. Even though he didn't always have self-confidence, he wasn't taught self-confidence as a kid. In other words, all those years and what he went through taught him to have that inner strength. But he already knew he had worth and value. He already had a strong sense of self. Okay. His name also says, which I think is incredible, he has to leave home to find himself, and then he can come back as the prodigal son.
What?
Oh, no
His
way.
name says that?
It's in the word son.
God.
No son. And all of us that look at all the last names that have the son in it. And it just means that person has to leave, have their time to find themselves, and then they can come back. And it's the prodigal son syndrome, because I put everything in a mnemonic device so I can remember it. So, I attach it to the different readings I've done. So that's the prodigal son.
Sure.
You got to leave to find yourself the minute there's a son in the name. And that's what he did. And the first vowel of an E in Nelson says you're coming from heart. No matter what happens, you come from heart. All of us have to think it through. We're all A's. We got to think it through. We got to make sense out of it. Until we can mentally understand something, we can't move on. Where for the first vowel of an E, they have to feel it and get it cleared in their feelings before they can move forward.
Gareth, did you want to jump in with something there?
I just wanted to. It's so fascinating. So,
yeah.
I mean, your folks, before you're born, they go, okay, well, his name's going to be Gareth, and then they go, no, it's actually going to be Greg. Does that literally then have an impact on things? Okay.
Now, when there were still only 7 religions on the planet, before I jokingly say that they multiplied and divided and everybody made up their own, okay, they overlapped in certain ideas. And it depends on how you count it or how you sort them. There are 10 or 12 ideas. But one of those ideas was that, and they all understood this, was that the incoming soul impresses upon the one that's going to name them what they want to be called. So we name ourselves. So when the parent's going, at the last minute, your soul is screaming, that's not that. It may be close, but that's not it. I want this one.
Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense to me. That's for sure.
There are 2 sciences now that are out that support that. Literally say we are our names or we become our names.
Yes.
One of them's Cymatics, Cymatics, which literally says that sounds can change your DNA. And then all of Sherry Edwards' work, she's that vibrational medicine. And if you're missing certain sounds in your voice when you're speaking, it correlates to what you're missing physically in your body. So to hear those sounds and to get sound therapy, you can literally heal what's in your body. Her work is incredible.
What?
She got Scientist of the Year in 2002.
Wow.
Because of all of this. And all this vibrational medicine is built on, and the biofeedback and everything, it's all built on her research. And so her work also supports the importance of the name.
Amazing.
Wow, it is amazing. It is amazing.
I mean, I could ask you a million questions. I think it's fascinating. I want to hijack your show though, Alexis.
That's all right. You can have her on your show. I'll let you.
Yeah, thank you.
So glad to connect you guys. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about.
So just to kind of take the angle just a little bit to the actual podcast arena that we're in.
Yeah.
Is there a particular outstanding story or like, oh God, moment that comes to mind? Like, I knew I shouldn't have had that person on, or wow, I was blown away by this. Do you have something you'd like to share? I know I caught you off guard, but.
I was going to say it's that I have amazing guests on.
I'll bet.
What I have found though is that some guests want to hijack and not have a conversation. It's like I have 4 12-minute segments, and then we have a small break. But there's 4 12-minute segments. And I have literally had guests on that the minute I say, welcome to my show, they take off running and they never breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, I do know that.
And I think, you are a horrible guest. I just want to go.
Yes.
My show, let me talk.
Yes.
So I keep it so focused on them. If I have somebody on my show, my whole focus is them and causing them to look good and, and I want them to present well. But when they take off and dominate, take over the show, it's like, no, I don't want you on my show.
Yeah.
they come in with an agenda and clearly can't be flexible, and it's awful. It's like, could you not do that? Or yeah, I listened to a show last night named shall remain nameless, and this person was such a long-winded, flat kind of storyteller, and the host kept saying, yeah, so then what happened? And she'd just go right back to the thing, like that's the order that she wants to tell it in, and it's like, oh, can you learn to tell it shorter or sweeter, please, next time?
Yeah, get to the point.
God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a skill, to be honest with you. It's a skill on both sides. It's a skill to interview well, and it's a skill to be interviewed well, and to speak well. I think what you're doing, Alexis, and like helping other people to be good podcast guests is massively, massively needed. And it'll be amazing, like the more people that can go through your course and your program will be super powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few shockers, but to be honest with you, we like to take responsibility for some of those shockers as well, because I don't know, we just feel, in the first instance, it's always important to take responsibility for things that don't go right. So, I won't really, not all the time, but a lot of the time, I think you should take responsibility. But we have had like amazing ones too, where you just have like these drop mic moments, like, I mean, there was a guy recently on our podcast, his name was Bud Jeffries, just such an incredible, incredible human with an amazing story and an amazing outlook on life. And, he just spoke from the heart and from the stuff that he had gone through with his son dying at 21 years old, and just now spreading his message and these sort of things. But it was just like you could just, you got goosebumps listening to these guys, like this man, like talk, and then we had John DiMartino on recently, and he was honestly like just the nicest guy. Like he was so cool. We were just like, wow, this guy's like a superhero, and he just treats you like such a normal person, you know what I mean? Like one of your buddies. And yeah, and then when he goes, he really goes, and he like, you can see him getting excited and feel that inside him, and he knows his stuff. He's so clever. You're like, oh my word, how do you do this, or whatever. So it's it's just really inspiring when you speak to people like that. You can, and I think the important thing for people to realize when they're guests on podcasts and when they're talking to anybody in general in any situation,
right?
You have so much power when you talk to somebody, right? In every single conversation that you have, and you can literally change someone's life with one sentence or a few words. You can really like shift their perspective or make them feel really good about themselves or give them some confidence or inspiration. But you can also do the complete opposite, right? You can also really hurt somebody. You can also, make them feel bad about themselves. You can,
it can be unwittingly done.
No, it can be unwittingly. Yeah. But that's why, like, I think communication is, I mean, it's so important in everything we do in life. And we really need to all train at, communicating well. I think it's really a great skill to have.
When you were talking, Alexis, about we can do this unwittingly, I remember when I was an academic dean and the principal secretary was very rude to me. I was very young. I was 31 when I got the second highest position in a high school as an administrator. And I had come straight out of the classroom and everybody else had been a VP first or something else. And I thought, she is rude to me all the time. There will come a day when she's rude to me and I'm the only one around, so I can say something, right? Because I won't be rude in front of somebody else. And when she was rude to me, I just looked at her and I said, are you this rude to everybody or am I just special?
Perfect.
And she was like, I wasn't rude. So I repeated back what she said. And I said, you don't think that's rude? But it was nice because we had that conversation. And I don't think she liked me after that, but she wasn't rude anymore.
You called her out on it very nicely. I admire that. I admire that.
It's hey. But that's something that I think, this current school year is the first year I haven't been in an education classroom. This is my first year out.
Yeah.
And when I look at the kids through the 40 years that I have been in schools, and I think we are so missing teaching our kids manners anymore. Just to be polite. And you can call somebody out politely. You can still be nice when you say, okay, wait a minute, I don't think this is right, or I don't feel good about this, or can we rediscuss this again?
Oh, please do say something. The passive aggressive part really sucks.
Yeah.
God.
And I just think, okay, but we're missing manners. And people used to ask me, they say, oh, what do you teach in school? And I go, math and manners.
Yeah.
Those are my topics.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I mean, I feel super fortunate actually growing up in South Africa, even though South Africa has, got its own issues, like, as every country in the world does. But schooling there for me, especially, in my time at least, was really sort of strict and disciplined. And you were taught amazing manners, tons of respect, and it was just so obvious, and it's still so obvious to this day. Like, even with my friends and guys that are my age and girls that are my age, we will always respect our elders. We will talk to them nicely. We'll literally stand up when they come into a room and open the doors for ladies and these sort of things. And other people will go like, why are you doing that? And we're just like, what? Why wouldn't you do that? It's just respectful. That's what you do, And
yes.
we were very lucky, I think, in South Africa, having that real strictness and discipline in schools.
Yeah. I think if we had that real strictness and discipline in the schools, we wouldn't see what we're seeing politically today, where there's such anger and hatred and want to tear somebody down. Instead of, it's like, I know that when Trump won, my classroom, I thought we were going to have breakout fights in the classroom.
Wow.
Because you have them all taking on, I was teaching middle school, 7th graders, and they're taking on their parents' opinion. I mean, it's not even really their own yet. And you had half the class happy and half the class sad. And we were monitoring fights in the hallway over this election result. And they come into my classroom, and I said to them, aren't you guys studying about the Civil War in your history class right now? And they go, yeah. And I go, hey, do you want to be living in the Civil War, or do you want to study the Civil War? Hello. And I said, hey, every election, half the people are happy and half the people aren't. I said, the glorious part about our country is that in 4 more years, if you don't like the result, go out and, campaign again for the one you want. Yeah. And if you like the results, go out and campaign for that one. Yeah. But just know that every 4 years, you have a chance to make a difference with your vote, with your words, talking with others, and that we got to back off for 4 years, let whoever is in do their thing. And if you don't like it, do something about it during election time. But I said, if not, if you guys are going to fight and argue, you're going to be living in the Civil War.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, it really is, I guess you pick your battles, and what message do you want to convey? And as, as I'm all about what story do you have to tell? You've lived to tell about it, whatever it is. And, lay it out well so that it can be heard, and you can't really help it if people fight over it. I mean, hey, you can't help that. Sometimes things are controversial, but being able to express it well and hopefully respectfully, because
and have a good discussion, because I loved in school, when I went through school eons ago, when we would have these discussions and people would disagree with me. I'd say, why? Where are you getting that from? What caused you to come to that conclusion? And oftentimes it so broadened my own ability to think about something, and I thought, I seek out people that are different than I am. Who needs to be around a bunch of yes people? You don't need that. You already think in your own way. Let's see how somebody else is thinking about it. That's what makes life interesting. But I don't see those discussions and the healthiness I see the emotions come up when somebody's disagreeing. And I think that's such a skill that we're lacking anymore.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Like, it's just, the being able to have a debate with somebody and actually listening to them.
Yes,
that's like people just, they don't listen. They don't like they'll say someone might say something they don't like, and they'll jump down like their throats. And rather than going, okay, why are you saying this? Where's it coming from? Is it actually legit? Let me sort of take that in
Yeah.
And then maybe you respond. But people don't listen. They're not prepared to listen. They're just like, everyone's not everyone, of course, but lots of people, it seems these days, we just seem to be jumping down each other's throats. And, it's really strange. Like half the people that you disagree with on something, I'm sure if you sat down and you spoke to them for 10 minutes, you would find there's so much similarities that you have that this thing you're arguing about is just stupid.
Exactly. Yeah. And to make it so important in your life. I mean, I look at how worked up. I work for some different HR companies, and looking at their applicants and looking at the names and saying what this person would be like, how they would fit into the team, if they would have the skills that this job requirement has. And one of the companies that I've worked with now for 6 years, that HR person, literally for 6 months, every time we got on the phone, was like the same barrage against politics, the same story every single time. And I said, you know how much time you've wasted saying the same thing when I've heard you? I can tell you how you feel. This is it.
Right?
I got it. And I said, but look at how much of your life you're spending all worked up over these politics that honestly you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
So isn't this a waste of your time? Okay, now what were those names you wanted me to look at again?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
My hope is always that our podcasts, our content, the people that we feature, the people that we are behind the microphone, that you guys are, can broaden minds, open them up, crack it open a little bit, and offer an option, because honestly, it's a wild animal that feels cornered or without options, or that life is futile, or that there's no hope, that things could never change. We know that that's not true, but if you don't know that, if you have this, then you it's like feeling cornered, like an animal, and there's a ferociousness about that, and there might even be a defensive on the stance. Fuck, I'm in the corner, leave me alone. Like it could be like that, right? Because you feel that desperate. But our shows and the people that you bring to the forefront, guys, you're amazing. And what you're offering to people is incredible information, and it's like a book in an hour. Put it on 1.5 speed. It's in 30 minutes. I don't care, whatever. But it's just like condensed, and it matters. And I just want to really, really thank you guys. I'm looking at the clock, and I hate to let you go, but I'm going to, because it's our hour.
Oh, wow.
And I can't thank you enough.
No.
Alexis, this is such a great idea of yours, is to poke the podcasters. And, I love your title. I love this behind the scenes look, and who are these people that are bringing you news, and who are they really? Great idea. I just wish you the best of success.
Thank you so much, sweetie. And that you approved the name?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love that, poke the podcasters.
Yeah. Alexis, just want to say thank you so much. It's such a great show. I love the freestyle format, and you're a great host, and it's just been, I love your energy too. It's so important when you come into a podcast as an interviewer and as a guest to bring good energy, and your energy shines through on your emails, on your messages, on everything. So it's really cool, and it sets the tone, which is really cool. So yeah, and Sharon, it's been great to meet you as well. So thanks for sharing all your knowledge.
Same here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys, for donating your time to this, and your support and your supportive remarks. Really, thank you, because you just don't even know. You don't even know. Anyway, thank you for joining us. The rest of you who have been listening in, the replay is going to be worth hitting the button, because we covered all kinds of stuff, covered a lot of ground in a hot minute. And I hope that you'll enjoy this and share this with other people, because the scenes behind the scenes, the people that are behind the microphones, these are amazing people. They're people that you want to get to know and listen to who they bring to the table, because they're the sharpest of the sharp, guys. All of them, sharp knives in the drawer. Love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. As I always like to do, mad love to you.
Thank you. I don't know how to do that, but there we go.
There we go. Got it. Hey, that was perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks a lot.
See you some other time, somewhere. I don't know, but we will, because we're not leaving anywhere. I can figure out how to shut this off. It'd be freaking amazing.
Cool. Bottom right hand, leave meeting. There you go.
I think I did it. I think I shut off the Facebook Live.
Yeah, cool.
I sure did, guys. That was freaking amazing.
Cool,
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thanks a lot.
You know what? I love your idea of Poke the Podcasters. I just think it's a great, background piece for what to aim your show around.
Thank you.
And you're definitely not going to struggle to get guests, that's for sure. I mean, you might struggle to get great ones, but you're going to have a ton of people to choose from.
It just shocks me how little people will show up.
Yeah.
Lauren, I put it out there, like 11 people out of 100 said, "Oh, okay." I'm like, really?
Yeah, that's probably not bad, to be honest with you. That's not a bad percentage if you.
Okay. If we look at it percentage-wise, that's cool.
The other thing, though, is that, like, I go on Facebook maybe once a month because I pay somebody to do that. Yeah. And it just so happened I saw yours. If not, you would have thought, she's ignoring me. I'm not. You need to email me.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, fair enough. I've also found that it takes one person to open the dance floor, and then all those people that have been jonesing to dance anyway will show up, and they'll be like, they won't tell you like, "Thank you for doing that, bro," because I've been wanting to get down. They won't say it, but it's there, and I know it's there. And so you two did what you did. You came on and you opened the dance floor. Thank you for helping me do this. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Well, it's a great idea. Gareth, how do I contact you?
If you want to send me an email, I can give you my email address.
Yes.
It's Gareth, Gareth, at Ridic, RIDIC -human.com.
Human.com. Okay, great. And mine is just through the website knowthename.com.
Okay, cool.
You know all about the person.
Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, as soon as if you send me a mail, I'll have your details, and then we can. Yeah, it'd be great to have you on our show as well. Be a great chat.
Hell yeah!
Same thing.
Get out there, girl.
Yeah.
So Alexis, what do you want to give answers to if you're on the call-in show?
If I'm on, it's really about authenticity and owning what you have, what you've been through. Being able to own it is the ability to let it go. And a lot of people can't do that. Even the law of attraction stuff is like, only focus on the positive. Well, you know what? You learn an awful lot from looking at the negative first, and being able to be aware of it, accept it, and then to take action creates change. And people seem to be mesmerized with that. And the inventory that I did, where I wrote "I believe" at the top of a piece of paper, and for 4 months I wrote every single thought I had. That whole inventory, it was like a hell of a spice rack, and I put it all out on the table. I don't like that one. Yeah, you're out. And then write them in, and to realize that if you set some lofty goal, like someday I want to be called happy-go-lucky, made no sense. It actually can work itself out. It will. And so it's a bit of inspiration. It's also people are like, how in the hell did you change your name? Like, what was that about? So it's really about owning, what you're called to do and who you are. And maybe you didn't even know that that's who you were, just really figuring out like your beat, your path. And it could take a long time, but hang in there, I don't know if that'll be worthy of your callers, girl, but we'll work something out. If it doesn't work, I understand. It's okay.
Now I'm going to figure out something.
Thank you.
It figures out what month to put you in.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm booked through August, and they're clearly defined. Like my business month, my lawyer month, my now, my alternative thinkers month. It's just I'll figure it out.
I have a dozen pithy one-liners, and they are really my Bible for survival. Oh, I love that. I need to write that shit down. Dr. Seuss still lives here. Yeah, right. It's recording.
Do you know Susie Pruden?
No.
Okay, I'm going to send you a mutual invite.
Okay.
Because she does little itty-bitty books and makes them bestsellers, and they're small. And there's a whole series of them, and they go off the shelf really, really fast.
Yes.
And every book is so small, and it's got a set format. And then you get those ideas out there in a very concise way. It's like the Reader's Digest of the Reader's Digest version.
I would love that. The Crib Notes on Life, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. See, and that would be a great book title.
I'm all about titles, taglines, headlines. What do you got? Let's make it. Let's paint pictures with your words. So it's not...
Yeah, exactly. But just like I was on the phone with her yesterday when I was telling her about this tornado thing and how I was just like, oh my gosh, 24 hours. And then what I didn't tell you guys was then when I went to start my car after this horrendous storm, the the battery was dead.
Oh, God.
It was just like 24 hours from, real challenge. And so anyway, I was telling her about it, and she was the one that said, I was going to say, where's my paper? She says to say, How to Live Through a Tornado. That's the title of the itty bitty book. And
I love it.
References to how you go through anything that all of a sudden becomes a tornado in your own life. The correlations. And so you could do one on crib notes on life. I mean,
Yep.
I think that would be excellent.
Yep. I also had the Guilt-Free Gals Guide to a Good Time. So the adventure mentor, let's go have a good time. Thanks, Sharon. I really appreciate it. I really want to get this stuff done. Yeah, I do.
I will write you guys
Thank you.
intro or whatever they call those things.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, Gareth, thank you
All right,
for being
thank you
on.
so much.
Nice meeting you,
Thanks for
Gareth.
having me. Yeah, you too. Cool. We'll speak to you soon. Okay.
We'll do this again soon,
Okay.
guys.
All right,
Thanks for
cool.
the
Thank you,
opportunity,
honey.
Alexis.
Yeah. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Lacey. See you later. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.